The recent tensions between Iran and Israel have intensified, marked by several key incidents and retaliatory actions. Now, on April 1, 2024, Israel conducted an airstrike on the Iranian consulate in Damascus. Damascus is the capital city of Syria. Now, this has resulted in the deaths of several members of the Iran's military, including its senior commander. In response, Iran on the 15th of April launched missile and drone attacks against Israel, claiming them as self-defense measures. And this is the topic of the day. Hello and welcome to Narayana IAS. In the next few minutes, let us try to unfold the overall geopolitics in the West Asia and how can this regional feud affect India. Now, West Asian region has always been a hot potato topic, isn't it? Events in the West Asia has ramifications not only in the region but across the globe, be it politically, be it economically and security. West Asia has three major regional players: Iran, a Shia-based country; Saudi Arabia, a Sunni-based country; and Israel, a Jewish-based nation. All three countries have an adversarial relation against each other. Now, all the Muslim nations come together to put a united stand against the only non-Muslim country, that is Israel, which got established by the United Nations in 1949 by dividing the state of Palestine into two nations. One is Israel, the other one being Palestine. And this was vehemently opposed by all the Muslim nations. Israel had to face wars from countries like Iraq, Jordan, Egypt, and Iran and Saudi supported the proxies in these nations to decimate Israel. However, Israel, owing to its strong offensive and defensive mechanism, successfully thwarted the attempts by its neighbors and emerged as a strong nation economically, militarily, and technologically. US, the sole superpower in the 21st century, has time and again committed its support to Israel and has also given the guarantee to defend Israel in case of any eventuality that might threaten the existence of Israel. Now let us switch our attention to Saudi and Iran's tussle. Both these Muslim nations are battling to gain regional supremacy in the region. Both these nations have their proxies in the smaller nations, like Iran operates through Houthis in Yemen and Hezbollah in Lebanon, and Saudi have their proxies operating in Yemen, Syria, etc. And both these nations counter each other through their proxies. The tussle for regional hegemony has had the region in bloodbath for years now. The October 7 terrorist attack by Hamas on Israel and the subsequent retort action against Hamas by Israel has once again brought the region to a standstill. West Asian regional conflicts have significant implications both globally and for India specifically, which affects the geopolitical stability, energy security, trade and international relations. Let's first focus on the global impact. The first is the oil prices and energy security. Now we all know that West Asia is rich in oil and gas resources. The conflicts in this region often lead to disruptions in oil supplies, which can cause global oil prices to fluctuate. This affects not just the economies directly dependent on oil imports and exports like India, but also has a ripple effect on the global markets and industries. Let's talk about the second impact. The conflicts in West Asia often draw in major powers like the US and Russia. Why? Due to the strategic importance of the region. This can lead to larger geopolitical confrontations and reshaping of alliances like Russia, China and Iran on one end and Israel, US, Saudi, France on the other. This impacts the global political stability. The third impact. Unfortunately, this region has been a breeding ground for extremist groups like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, who can capitalize on the instability. This raises security concerns worldwide, with the potential for these conflicts to fuel terrorism beyond the region. Like, for example, the decade of 1990s saw the Soviet Union and the Taliban fighting, which had the spillover effect in Kashmir. And the other impact. The conflicts in West Asia contribute to the large-scale displacements of people leading to humanitarian and migration crisis. This is how it affects globally. Now let's talk about India. Now let us try to understand how the geopolitical confrontations in West Asia impacts India. First is the energy security. Now India is heavily dependent on oil imports from West Asia, sourcing about 60% of its crude oil from the region. Instability can threaten India's energy security and economic stability due to potential supply disruptions and price volatility. The second impact. Now, we all know that West Asia is home to a large population of Indian expatriates whose remittances are crucial to India's economy, especially the forex reserves. The conflicts in the region can jeopardize their safety and livelihood, isn't it so? The third impact, the strategic and the military interests. Now, India has strategic interests in the stability of West Asia. It involves balancing relations with different countries in the region which often have conflicting interests. For example, maintaining good relations with both Iran and Saudi Arabia or Israel and Palestine can be challenging. The next impact pertains with counter-terrorism. Now, with the rise of extremist groups in West Asia, India remains vigilant about the potential spillover of terrorism into its territory like that it happened in the 1990s. There is also the challenge of radicalization among certain segments of the population, which could be influenced by events in West Asia. Now, the National Investigation Agency, the NIA, reported such incidents in the state of Kerala, so we need to be extremely careful. So overall, the stability of West Asia is crucial for global peace and for India's national interest too. India's approach is generally one of non-alignment, that is, India refrains from taking any side, aiming to maintain quality relations with all the countries in the region while advocating for peaceful resolutions to conflicts. Now let's come back to the current situation. The storming of missiles and drones by Iran on Israel has escalated the situation with various military engagements, including Israel's reported strikes on Iranian civilian infrastructure, and this has only further strained the relations. Political leaders from both countries have also been engaged in a war of words, exacerbating the conflict. For example, the Israeli foreign minister publicly clashed with his Iranian counterpart on social media, reflecting the deep-seated animosity and the lack of diplomatic engagement between the two nations. Internationally, the US has been pushing for support to Israel and urging restraint to avoid a full-scale war, while the regional dynamics have shown potential for a broader coalition against Iran, but that is dependent only on a strong lead from the US. Meanwhile, the conflict has had spillover effects in the region, affecting strategic areas like the Gaza Strip and the southern Lebanon, complicating the already fragile stability in the Middle East. Now, for a more better clarification, areas like the Gaza Strip and southern Lebanon hold significant strategic importance due to their geopolitical, military and symbolic value in the broader context of the Middle East. It is important for the global powers like the US and Russia or the UN to ensure the situation doesn't escalate further, because escalating will only lead to more innocent deaths, global economies taking a beating leading to inflation, thus affecting the overall macroeconomics. Iran and Israel both are militarily strong nations, and both of them have to understand the repercussions of a full-fledged war and so have to show restraint, thus exhibiting prudence. Now, India, as a regional player who aims to play the role of net security provider, should play an important role by talking to Iran and Israel, both of them with whom India has good relations, and ensure the situation doesn't worsen, thus in the process establishing herself as a major power having the capability to forge peace in the region. For more such interesting updates, stay tuned to Narayana. Thank you.